What is going on, everyone? It's Ultimate Spy 3 here, and welcome to another episode of Reviewed number 131. And today, I'm going to be reviewing Cinderella from 2015.
So what did I think of Cinderella from 2015? Well, I thought it was better than the original, honestly. I mean, seriously, this dress is amazing. I mean, I will say that the dress itself is different from the original, obviously. Kind of like with a lot of the Disney princess films that Disney has made live action, they've just kind of gone away with the gloves. I don't really understand. I don't know why they do it, but like it's just the way it is. I did this movie after I did Beauty and the Beast because I just didn't get around to doing, the prior release before. I would have been like, oh, Cinderella before Beauty and the Beast, but it never happened. And also because Beauty and the Beast is my favorite movie. But this one, it was good. It was really good. I really did enjoy it. I don't believe I saw it in the theater, but I definitely saw it multiple times afterwards. And and honestly, it's really good. I think it has the same director as the first Star movie, so not bad. And honestly, the casting for Cinderella was actually really good. I mean, I think they're all British cast. You have Haley Atwell, you have Rory James, you have Derek Jacobi, you have I can't remember the actor's name, but he played the father in Mirror Mask, the movie I reviewed last week, which is really cool. I think the black guy who I believe was in Pan, that movie that I saw a while back, came out in the same year actually. I think it was the same year. I don't know what I saw, but yeah. And I think it also had Stellan Skarsgård, who plays, if you don't know him, he plays Eric Selvage in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Most of the Thor movies he played the role in Thor, the Avengers, Thor 2, and Age of Ultron, briefly. And so he's in this movie as, like, I guess he's the Duke or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I think it was really, really good, this movie. It was visually stunning. It was gorgeous. I mean, the dress is just amazing. And I don't know why, but I felt like the music reminded me of, I don't know, like Peter Pan. And that movie, I had not reviewed this yet, but I will. It's on the list of things reviewed. I just haven't had a number 2 yet. That's the whole thing about my review shows. I always like, connecting a number to it. And so, I felt like the music was it was gorgeous. It was absolutely, enchanting and magical, and it just really reminded me of, like, I don't know, Peter Pan, for example. But yeah, still, it was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. It definitely sent a better message, because I remember in my Cinderella, I think it came out in 1950, and that movie, the complaints I had of it were that it sent the wrong message about, how love works, and how, like, oh, Cinderella met this prince, had one dance with him, didn't even get to know him, and then she ran off at midnight. That was it. That was the original story. And in this movie, I felt it was a whole lot different, because she gets to know him. She gets to know him before they meet at the ball. They talk a bit in the forest, and then at the ball they spend time with her a lot more to, like, get to know each other, and that's really good. That's sending a lot better, because I felt like that's sending a better message, because I felt like with the original movie they didn't do a good job of that. Like, I felt like Disney just did not know what he was doing. He's like, you can't do that to a story like that. That's not how love works. Love is a completely different, scenario. You don't just fall in love like that. You dance once for a few hours, or I don't know how long it took, and then you leave. That's not how it works. But also we have to know more about the prince, because in the original story, the original movie also, not the original story, but the original movie, the prince, we don't really know much about the prince at all. We know he has come back from, I think, the war or something like that. I don't know where he was, but we don't really know much about him. We don't know anything. We just know he's looking for a bride. And in this movie, we learn that he's an apprentice in the trade, and he is kind of 100 a little bit, and he's looking for a bride. It's the same kind of thing with the original story, but it's a little more in depth. We kind of get to know the prince a little more, and we learn he has actually a name. Unlike the original movie, where he just has known as the prince. Meaning it's about this, the third character in the Disney princess line, in that franchise, where they literally don't have a name for it. In Beauty and the Beast, it's just called the Prince. I think the fan name is Prince Adam. Cinderella's prince is literally known as the Prince. Snow White's prince is literally known as the Prince. I think it's also the Prince Charming, or I think for the original movie it's called Prince Charming, but it doesn't really have a designation. It's just like a fan name. It's like the third character in the Disney princess franchise who it has nominated in the original movie. And in this movie, he actually is named Kit, which is fantastic, because that's like, we gotta know more about the characters. So that was good. But also, I definitely like the story behind it. I think the story was way better. It told a better story with it. It showed how, you know, how Cinderella's personality is, and how she gets through her life, all that stuff. And it's the same, generic stuff. The mice don't talk though, which is very interesting because the original movies, they talked. I mean, Gus wasn't really, he didn't talk a whole lot, but like he was a hard to talk. He was kind of like one of those awkward mice who had issues talking. But with this movie, they didn't talk at all. They literally didn't talk. It was CGI mice, and I don't think the CGI mice were all that bad. Honestly, people have a complaint about again, they'll have the fact that Disney remakes movies all the time. It's like, well, if you think about it, Disney remaking their old movies isn't a bad thing. Honestly, it isn't, because especially for the new generation of fans like me who watch those movies the second century release, and you kind of want a retelling of that. So I feel like with what Disney's doing with these movies, like this one, I think it's like I think that Maleficent was the first live-action princess tale. I mean, it was centered on the villain of the story, but it was still a princess tale. And I definitely feel like the reason Disney's doing this, and people hate it, people are hating on it, like, why did you remake everything? Well, because they want a retelling of it. They want like another version of it, because those movies are so old, and they want a retelling of it. They want to see how it could look like as a new generation film to the people who only saw it in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, and around that generation. And people want to see it again just to see how it's changed. And that's why it's important that we make Disney classics, because it's been so long, and we want to see a new version of that, a retelling, of course. And it's just, plus we get to explore more backstory about the characters, like in Beauty and the Beast, explore more about the prince. And this we get to explore more about the prince also. But also, I definitely feel like we got to know Cinderella a bit more, because in her, of course she hates being treated like she is, but in this movie it was a lot better. I mean, her dress is amazing. I mean, I definitely can say though about the dress is that there's two different versions of Cinderella that have been introduced in the princess line. There's the original animated classic 1950 version of Cinderella, which was pretty generic. Had no ears, had a little hair thingy, whatever you call it. Hair was in a bun thingy. And she had a simple blue dress, amazing. And then you have this version where you take away the gloves, and then again you have the one in the Once Upon a Time show, and that was like the third episode of the first season of the show. They had Cinderella in an episode where Rumpelstiltskin takes away the fairy godmother, and he becomes the fairy godmother basically. And they got the dress about 90% accurate. I mean, they had the gloves there, everything was there. It looked pretty accurate to the original costume, but not quite all the way. And then they had another version in season 7, which is like a Spanish version. Not the favorite, it's kind of like unusual. I don't think there's ever been a Spanish version of Cinderella in the original stories, because there's been many versions of different, princesses and stuff like that. But with this one, I definitely felt like there was, I don't know, it was definitely different. I mean, I think it was amazing, honestly. I love the soundtrack, I love the visuals, I love the magic in it, I love the storytelling, the characters we get to know a lot more. I feel like we get to know more about the prince as a whole, because in the original movie, we don't really get to know about the prince at all. Like, nothing. Like, we know he comes back from something, I think it's like a war or something like that, like I said before, but we don't really know much about him at all. So I definitely feel like this movie, they did a good job with it, but I definitely felt like there were issues. I felt like when you change something too much, it becomes too different. Like the dress. They changed it so many times. Like the Beauty and the Beast and this movie, they just decided, the gloves aren't worth it. We're not going to put the gloves on. Once Upon a Time did it, we're not going to do the same thing. Although the belle dress in Once Upon a Time does not have gloves either. But still, I definitely think that with this movie, it told a better story. It had a better message to send, because with love, with the princess as a whole, just showing you all that stuff, and obviously Nature is a different character in this movie. She doesn't look anything like she is, but she's very cruel, obviously. But like I felt like they're like all the characters we learn about in this movie, in this version of the movie, is way different. Like obviously played by the brilliant Kate Blanchett. She played Good Galadriel, and she was great in this movie. She was just fierce, and I guess she's beautiful, but I don't know. It's hard to really think about that with a person as cruel as her. But I also felt like with this movie, we kind of when we're showing the life of Cinderella in her home, showing just how she lives her life, because in the original movie we have a little bit of backstory about how the narration tells us, the she slowly started to being treated like a servant. But in this movie, we take more time with that. We take more time to, like, actually, spending time with the family. I think Ella's mom was even there, and all alive and everything until things happen. We have the dad is there, which is brilliant. We have, the fact that, the family is a lot better life than she had before. The original classic, that wasn't a thing at all. I just felt like it was a lot better. We had we got more time with it. And Cinderella doesn't get her name from the Cinderella stuff, but it was definitely it took a little more time for her to become Cinderella, because that's her nickname, Cinderella. But still, I definitely felt like it was a very good movie. It was it's been 3 years now. I'm finally reviewing it, but it's just the way it is, I guess. But I liked it. It was a good movie. It had an amazing soundtrack. I don't know. It reminds me of Peter Pan for some reason. It feels like, this fantasy kind of vibe to it. I just love it. It's fantastic, and I'm a big Princess fan. I just love them. I love the franchise itself, and yeah, overall, I don't really have anything else to say about this movie. I just think it was very different. Helena Bonham Carter did a really good job with that. In fact, the whole, carriage scene was actually really good, because in the original movie, they all transformed into the respective people to man the carriage, but in this version, it was like a different story. Like, they have lizards becoming footmen, you have a goose becoming the reins of the carriage, you have the carriage itself becoming a lot more, I don't know, it felt more alive, because in the original animated classic, it was not very alive. It just kind of was, it was animated, of course. The fairy godmother looked a lot more, I felt like, obviously the Helena Bonham Carter was absolutely gorgeous in this movie. She had a little more makeup going on there. In the original movie, she was more like a grandmother, really. That was obviously the idea. The idea is that she's kind of represents a grandmother, but like a fairy godmother. That's not really but that's not what a godmother is. No, obviously not in real life. But I definitely felt like with the pumpkin transformation scene, it was a lot better. It was way different. It was just like whoa. And in the dress transformation scene, I felt it was a whole lot better. Because I know in the original classic, Disney himself said it was his favorite sequence. The sequence where Cinderella's dress is transformed into the amazing dress that she has on, and I guess the trademark dress that she has on always. And in fact, it's even like being jumped into the new version of her, which is in the Wreck-It Ralph movie. But this one, it was more alive. It felt like it took more time, because in the original classic it was like whoop, that was it. It was like a few seconds of just transforming. But in this movie, it's spent more time actually the transformation of the dress. She's spinning around, the dress is kind of forming around her, and then suddenly, boom, she's in a really amazing dress, and that was really what I liked about it. But yeah, I definitely felt like it was an improvement upon the original classic. I feel like that's why I feel like remakes are necessary, because when you have a story like that, especially a movie that came out years ago, and then you retell it, you get more time to spend with that character. Like, you get more time to spend with more backstory on those characters and all that stuff, which I found really fun. I think in this movie, the godmother starts out as an old beggar woman, kind of like the Beauty and the Beast movie, but not quite the same. It's obvious you can tell that her makeup as a old woman wasn't great, but I definitely felt like we get to know more about the godmother through that transformation. She's obviously a witch or something like that, because in the original movie we don't really get to know we don't really get to know very well. Like, we don't really have to like Cinderella doesn't spend a whole lot of time with the godmother in the original movie, but in this movie we do. Like, she really gets to, she really is kind to her. She smiles a lot. She's happy. She's excited about her, all that stuff, and obviously we only get to see her the same amount of time we normally get to see her in the original movie, which is only before the ball. But afterwards, it's a different story. And afterwards, in general, it's a whole lot more alive. Like, I feel like this movie with the original movie, it didn't feel as alive. I feel like with this movie, because it's obviously a remake, it just felt more alive, and I liked it better. So, but that's all I can say. Again, amazing soundtrack, absolutely gorgeous soundtrack. Lily James killed it with the character. She was amazing. She's obviously a very beautiful actress, and I think she's amazing in it. The dress is amazing. I feel like, with Comic-Con and all stuff, you see a lot more people cosplaying as Cinderella from this movie, because this movie was really good. Some people have issues with it. My brother has an issue with it. It's not perfect. It never was. It never was perfect, but it was definitely an improvement. Because I remember in my Cinderella in 1950 review, I had a lot of issues with it. It just had a lot of... it wasn't a bad movie. It just kind of... it suffered a lot with the issues that it had because it sent a bad message and it was just like not perfect. And she didn't have ears. Yeah, she has ears now. Also, her hair is different too. I mean, it's not just the fact that she doesn't have gloves, or her dress is different, but her hair is different. And I noticed that. Like, I think I noticed that the first time I saw the movie. I was like, wow, her hair is different. It's it's obviously gorgeous, but also just a lot different. Like, it's not tied up in like a a bun kind of thing, and it doesn't have any kind of like band thing or whatever you call it. Obviously, that's replaced by like sparkles and stuff like that and all that stuff. And she's like she has more makeup, all that stuff. But yeah, totally amazing movie. We spend more time with the characters. I feel like the original movie, we don't really get that at all. And Cinderella doesn't spend a whole lot of time singing either, because the fact that it's a Disney known for the musicals, not all the time. In this movie, we didn't have a whole lot of singing. It didn't have a lot. It had like a few songs. I think Cinderella sang like a couple of times, but in the original movie, she sang quite a lot. So, and in the original movie, she spent more time with her animal friends, and they didn't talk to her in this movie like they talked to her in the original movie, because again, the original movie and this movie are different. So, but still, yeah, great movie. I loved it. It was fantastic. I didn't have anything against it. I didn't. The only thing I really wish they would have done, like especially with again now they're doing remakes and all that stuff, they're changing a lot about things. I don't think that any future Disney princess movie remake they make is gonna look the same. Probably not. I mean, that's the idea of a remake. You're remaking it. You're making it different. So with the dresses, I mean, I'm a big fan of princess dresses. I love princess dresses. They're amazing. They're absolutely beautiful. But with this dress and other dresses, like the Belle dress in the 2017 remake of Beauty and the Beast, and in the future movies that they make based off of Disney princess stories, that the dress is not going to look anything like it did. I mean, it'll look similar. It'll have the same color. It'll have the same kind of shape, but it will not look anything similar to the original. You won't have any gloves. It'll be completely different. I mean, it'll look gorgeous, in general, but like, no, it'll look different. I think that's the important thing. But also, it was a lot more entertaining. This movie was better. It's a lot better. It's longer. We spend more time with the character, with the setting, all that stuff. That's felt like, I definitely felt like that was an improvement upon the original, because the original, while it was good, it had a lot of issues. Yeah. We also don't get to see drugs in this movie, thankfully. In the original movie, there was drugs. There was actual cigars in the movie. Like, good God. But no, in this movie, we didn't see any of that. It was mainly just visual styles of it, just visually stunning, and I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic movie. I didn't have anything against it. So that's all I can say about Cinderella. It's a good movie. Really, I would recommend it if you have not seen it yet. I don't know why you would not have seen it yet, because it's been out for 3 years. But if you have not seen it yet, I would recommend checking it out. It's really good. I had the Blu-ray. I mean, I didn't see it in the theaters, but I did see it, recently, and it's pretty good. It's a great movie. I loved it, and I think it was fantastic. It had a great cast. Seriously, it was fantastic. I loved it. I think it was amazing. So anyway, I'm gonna give this movie a 10 out of 10. I mean, I would normally diss the dress, but again, the dress wasn't. I didn't have anything against the dress. I just feel like I would have preferred it to be the original dress. I mean, it would have been that little bit interesting, but because the remake they're supposed to tell the story's supposed to be visually different, and that it's not supposed to be different, then I get it. But I would have liked that, and I also was disappointed that the hair wasn't exactly the way it was in the original movie. But that's okay. So 10 out of 10. I don't have anything against it, but I just wish. I don't want to point off just because the dress is different. No, that's a stupid thing. Dress was fine. It was fantastic. But so I like the fact that people are. I think it's interesting the fact that people are cosplaying with this dress as the original, which is very interesting. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Had anything against it, was great. I didn't have anything against it. Again, the only thing I really thought could have been better would be the dress, and I was just kind of surprised by it. But that's all I can say. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Reviewed. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. I really do appreciate support. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe for more episodes of this series and of this series that I do. As well as great content. And I'll be back next time with another episode. Alright? See ya.